why we need to link our industrial sector to our universities and vice versa. Because the Central Bank Chief Godwin Emefiele yesterday expressed the need for that radical change in the curricula of Nigerian universities and other learning institutions in line with today's digital economy and industrialization, in particular through small and medium enterprises. The Central Bank Chief was speaking at the convocation event of the University of Lagos. Let's take a listen.
Through our various interventions, the CBN has made it easy for SMEs who would hitherto have found it difficult to access finance to do so without necessarily providing tangible collaterals to secure the loans. The current economic situation in Nigeria requires an accelerated adoption of knowledge to drive our developmental goals. The fast pace of growth and innovation, along with large and growing population of vibrant youths, places Nigeria on a vantage position to harness these potentials for accelerated economic development. In this regard, our educational institutions and key institutions, including the Central Bank of Nigeria, have critical roles to play in realizing the huge potentials of a digitalized economy. Many advanced economies have shifted focus from the adoption of traditional factors of production, including labor and capital, to a technological-driven development model, resulting in improved economic development indices. However, for emerging and developing economies like ours, a lot of efforts are still required to maximize the use of cutting-edge technology and highly skilled human capital in fast development. For Nigeria to tap into the productivity-enhancing benefits of knowledge-driven economy, training of quality manpower through both formal and informal educational curricula is essential, and I note with delight what the Vice Chancellor has spoken about the development of the entrepreneurial skills in our graduating students and youths in the University of Lagos. Knowledge has become with the proliferation of digital channels. Our universities and learning institutions should be ready to tap into the educational trends that are significant drivers of productivity in advanced and emerging markets in order to reshape our existing curriculum, enhance the learning experience, foster innovation amongst the faculty and staff in our educational institutions. Furthermore, enhanced collaboration between universities and players in key sectors of our economy, such as agriculture, manufacturing, ICT, are necessary to enable implementation of sound ideas generated from our universities. For instance, universities in most developing countries have little or no formal linkages to industry, but these we must begin to cultivate.
Okay, so let's have this two-part conversation around the key issues raised by the Central Bank Chief, namely knowledge-based curricula, industrialization, and the broader economy. My guest on this is Professor Ken Ife, a Development Economist, live from our Abuja studios. Good evening, Professor. It's good to have you here on the show.
Good evening, Boas, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Let's raise the curtain. What are your thoughts around why Nigeria urgently needs a knowledge-based education system?
Well, first of all, let me commend the Central Bank Governor for giving a good account of the CBN's role in this direction. The thing is that, one, let's look at two dimensions. One is the natural advantage that we have as a young, growing population. Over 60% of our population are below the age of 35. So that then means that we have to do something about the youth opportunities that they present. Secondly, there are 90 million MSMEs in Africa. 44 million of them are from Nigeria, just about half. So in a way, Nigeria's population to Africa is about 18%. Nigerian GDP, economy, size of economy is about 18%. But for some reason, our entrepreneurship is around 50%, which means that entrepreneurship is a latent competitive advantage. So you need to merge the issue of entrepreneurship and then youth. And so those were brought together by what the, Mr. Emefiele had to say. Now, it's a very solid foundation that they have laid. They laid infrastructure. The technology infrastructure, the bank payments infrastructure have all been benefiting from technology, and the CBN has been driving those. Then there's a financial inclusion agenda, which they've also been driving to sensitize that vast population and then make sure that they key in. Then they also showed example about enterprise development program one in each geopolitical zone, and then lately they are now going for Center of Excellence in digital technology in 6 universities, one in each geopolitical zone. So these are just setting up the marks and the pillars for a major assault on this particular opportunity to ensure that we use it very, very extensively. And to be honest with you, there is financial infrastructure also. There are a plethora of funding opportunity that they have created. Youth Investment Fund, Youth Development Fund. There are
Professor Ken,
that are pushing millions.
Professor Ken, we're trying to stick with the educational system and why we need a knowledge-based education system. The central bank chief says the current economic situation in Nigeria requires accelerated adoption of knowledge to drive our development goals. What type of knowledge do you think Nigeria urgently needs from the educational sector?
Okay, first of all is that there is a big mismatch between the skills of these graduates coming out of the university and the industry, the skill profile required by the industry. And the reason is because that we don't have a viable program of industry education partnership, which will be mutually reinforcing, making sure that what the industry wants is the challenge that the education sector is addressing. So the skill sets to connect those should be the essence of the curriculum. And let me give you an example. I'm the chair of the digital economy, bioeconomy, science, technology, and innovation in the National Development Plan, which we have just walked through 2021 to 2025. And I had to address the critical area of skills shortage and the skills agenda to ensure that all of these humongous opportunities that we have identified in these areas of science, technology, digital economy, bioeconomy, that we are going to have millions of youth that are going to be trained and that universities are going to be responsive to the needs of this emerging industry. So that was the central agenda. And we decided that the science in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, must go all the way down to elementary level. No, we don't wait to know from elementary so that they begin to work with those. And then digital literacy, all of those, we're pushing them down to the elementary. In the end of the day, a child's IQ is formed at the age of 6. So we are pushing that down. And then so the curriculum of the university must of necessity respond to the needs of the industry. Yes, and you only do that in the context of industry education partnership, what we call knowledge transfer partnership.
Okay, Professor, when we come back, we'll talk about the universities and towards the tertiary institutions, more specifically, because they look like the final level to get into industrial SMEs, manufacturing. Why is it important? What do we need to do, and why do we need to do this for our SMEs? We're back into everyone. Please stand by. Yeah, we're taking this discussion further around the educational system that can drive innovation in small and medium enterprises and industrial development. Thanks for standing by, Professor Ken Ife. How can Nigerian universities and other learning institutions tap into what you call educational trends that are significant drivers of productivity?
Yeah, they have to do that by having a major handshake between the creative and developmental opportunities the industries present and the knowledge resources and that the tertiary institutions can bring. And they have to affect different levels of knowledge institutions. That what these knowledge institutions have to bring. One is they bring the teaching, then they bring the research, and then they bring the entrepreneurship. So when entrepreneurship meets with digital technology, That's what gives you equal to knowledge economy. So both of them have to be in the both have to marry in all of those respects. Now we have sorted out the issue of entrepreneurship, how it is migrating into the university platform. I've given some examples. But the two areas that are missing is research. The research has to be contextualized with what the industry needs, solving industrial problems. And that also affects the curriculum that in a way that you begin to prepare students to be able to respond to those research opportunities that are going to head into the development platform. So there's a connection between that. So that's why the two-way link between the university and the industry must be brought to the fore. The industry influences what the research, when you do the research and bring it out, and the research is actually dealing with the real issues in the industry, then the next thing is that how does the industry capitalize on it? Then that's where we look at the funding that allows that to take place. Then again, when we see all this rolling out, the university will now say, okay, what kind of manpower do we need to produce to be able to support that emerging industry? And that's where the curriculum will have to respond to the emerging opportunities, and then the students get. Then the third one is, okay, we now have the curriculum that is responsive. We have the industrial opportunities. How do we make our students entrepreneurial? Because in the end of the day, they have to go out there and take the risk. So all those are the coordinates that define the nature of the relationship between industry and private sector.
Prof, the central bank governor specifically mentioned in his address yesterday at the University of Lagos, such as agriculture, manufacture, and ICT. He talked about that collaboration. You said it's a marriage. That sounds like music to my ears. So who should officiate this, what you call wedlock between our education system and mainstreaming it into the broader economy? Who should be in charge of this? What do we need to do right now? And why are these three sectors very key for Nigeria? Well, agriculture, manufacture, and ICT.
Okay. Well, right. One is that we have talked about the preponderance of youth in our population statistics. Two, our natural economy is agriculture because it employs over 60% of our population. So it's a natural home for new entrepreneurship. And then don't forget, within the agriculture space, there are precision technologies, agricultural precision technologies. There are different agri-techs, different types of, the whole industry is now been pervaded by various technologies. And then also, if you look at manufacturing, you have artificial intelligence, you have so many Internet of Things. That again is subject to technology. But there's what looks like a contradiction. We want to create 100 million jobs, but we are embracing technologies that are likely to reduce jobs. It is not a contradiction. It also tells you that all you need to do is to bring the teeming population of youth into the mix and bring far more technology. We will end up unlocking more opportunities. And you saw that last year in the second and third quarter results, where the resilient ICT technology was commanding 15% growth rate when everybody went into negative territory. And then it continued, and now it has now become bigger than retail and the wholesale. So it's strong industry, performing in a way that we never expected it to do. And it has also helped the financial sector. Financial sector posted huge growth amidst recession. And it's because the CBN helped them embrace technological infrastructure, technology payment system, and all of that. So the CBN has done a lot in opening up this space. But the main actor is what we have done in the National Development Program by bringing technology, digital technology, biotechnology, and science and innovation, bringing them to the center stage of our planning, our national planning. The way we did it was to move the innovation to the center, and then make sure that we identify all the innovation ecosystem in each MDA, in each sector of the economy. Where are the innovation ecosystem? And then we'll map them to ensure that people can now, they are not operating in silos. It's not like when we had innovation policy domiciled in science and technology, and we couldn't find funding framework, and we don't have the partnership, what we call triple helix partnership, which is academia, research institute, and private sector and government working together and using that as the framework for accessing a centralized funding framework called the Innovation Challenge Fund. So that is how we are moving. The country is changing, I'm telling you. And then you have the likes of CBN now adding impetus to this strategic direction of our economy. We need more actors. We need an organized private sector to embrace it, and then make sure that they can support the youth in this direction.
Speaking of the small and medium enterprises, do you think the absence of digitalized and knowledge-driven economy is one of the key problems they face?
Yeah, well, it is actually. But what has impressed me so much is that the biggest challenge that they have, which is access to finance, has actually been handled adequately by the creative instincts of the central bank. You have seen how they use biometric bank verification technology, they use satellite technology, they've used all kinds of technology to make sure that the collateral requirement of small lending, microcredits, is no longer a major issue. You saw it in agriculture, where over 3 million have accessed loans without having to bring deposits. They have to use their BVN technology and then the satellite coordinates of their hectares, one hectare. So that has helped. And then also there's infrastructure that has been built, which is movable asset register, then credit registry bureau. All of those are they are to support private sector to lend to private sector SMEs. So it's not just for you to depend on intervention funds. Intervention funds are to show you the way, to show that it can be done. The various things CBN is doing is to show that they can be done. But in the end of the day, CBN has created all the infrastructure to enable the commercial banks to actually now lend to the 44 million MSMEs, rather than depend on intervention funds, which can only do about 3 or 4 million people. So that's, there's an orchestration. There's an orchestration. Even if you look at foreign exchange, there's an SME window. There is complete orchestration of what it takes to ensure that the young people can hit the ground running and that they will embrace the technology, as we are seeing already. Or they're embracing all kinds of technology. They're using digital tools. Okay, Nigeria also is the number one in Africa with tech hubs. I think we have over 90 tech hubs, followed by South Africa, about 68. We are number one. And in terms of investment, a private equity investment, we're also number one, attracting over $200 million a year. So, it's all coming together. But there are drivers that we need to bear in mind, must be put in place, and pretty soon, to enable this massive takeoff. Because whilst in our development plan, we are looking at 4%, 7%. No, with the technology side of this plan, we are looking at quantum leapfrog scenario.
Okay,
because that is what technology does.
Yes, we're very grateful for your insights on this very important issue. In particular, the development plan moving forward, how we mainstream education, innovation, and all of that technology into it. Thank you very much, and have a very great evening. Development Economist, Professor Ken Ife. We appreciate your time.